So we have generic families and we have font families. What's the difference? Well, a generic family is something like this: serif or sans serif. Well, as you can imagine, the difference is that serif has a font style, which is including serifs, and sans serif, well, doesn't have serifs. But we have more of these generic families. We also have cursive. Well, I think the name tells you already what that could stand for or why it's called cursive. We also have monospace and we have fantasy. I made fantasy a bit gray because it's not the most usual generic family you could use. We'll still have a look at it though. But the thing is that these generic families are kind of a headline, which therefore define a specific attribute of the fonts that are inside this generic family. For example, the cursive generic family includes fonts which are, well, cursive. And by saying includes, this brings us to the font families, because that's actually more specific. And these are actually the different fonts we have inside our generic family. For serif, for example, this could be Times New Roman or Georgia. So both are part of this generic family, the serif family. And as you can see in the different font families, Times New Roman and Georgia, both have these serifs in them, but they look different though. We also have other font families which are part of the sans serif generic family. This could be Helvetica or Radana. These are of course all just examples. We have a lot more font families for all our generic families. The thing is that for these fonts, both don't have any serifs, again, as the generic family indicates, and that's this general attribute or characteristic these font families, which are part of a specific generic family, are sharing. For cursive, as we can imagine, we have this cursive style. Well, probably not the most beautiful one, but still, this is for example Brush Script and Mistral. And we have monospace, so we have Courier New or Lucida Bright. And for fantasy, I didn't add any font families. As I said, it's a pretty uncommon generic family, as I would say. Nevertheless, we'll also cover that throughout this module. So that's the general theoretical background that we need. We have generic families, which kind of define a specific core attribute. And inside these generic families, we have multiple font families, which share this common attribute, of course, but nevertheless look different. So that's the first theoretical introduction. Let's now go to our browser and see if we can find such generic families and font families in there.